Hey y'all, I'm Jessi Harry and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. I do what's for dinners, grocery hauls, easy recipes, so you don't want to miss any of those videos. Today's video is actually a crockpot what's for dinner for the month of Crocktober. Super cheesy, whatever. Anyways, it is part of the Crocktober series that I've been doing this month. And we're doing the what's for dinner. So we've got 4 really easy recipes, very delicious, very yummy for these cold fall months. I don't know if it's cold where you are. I live in the south, so it's hot for a couple days, cold for a few. It's been cold and rainy, so the crock pot recipes have been delicious. But I do want to mention that my very first recipe up, the crockpot chicken tikka masala, was recommended to me by my best friend Sky. She loves that recipe. She's been recommending that I make it, and it finally got nice and cold where I felt like the chicken tikka masala, well, cold for me, where the chicken tikka masala would be delicious and not overheating, because I do put the cayenne pepper in it. It is so good. So good. So you definitely got to try that one. But that will be the first one up right after this intro. Thank you, Sky. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Alright, so of course the first recipe up is the crockpot chicken tikka masala. So I've got some chicken breasts that I've cubed up, a lemon, an onion I diced up, got some garam masala, some cumin, coriander seed, paprika, bay leaves, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, and turmeric powder. We've got some cornstarch, some olive oil spray, some black pepper, and then I have 4 tiny cans of tomato sauce. I thought I bought a big one, but I didn't, so we're going to use these 4. I think it's a little bit extra of tomato sauce, but that's fine. Some minced garlic and some ginger. Also, I forgot to show you in this clip, I also had heavy whipping cream, but let's get this tossed into the crock pot. So first things first is we're going to put the chicken in, diced onions, some garlic, the ginger. I think the recipe calls for, freshly cut up ginger yourself, but I get the ginger paste or the minced ginger in the tubes, and that's what I used. Just easier. Same for my big jar of minced garlic you'll always see me use. And now I'm tossing in all of the seasonings. As always, the recipe link, or if I type out the recipe, will be in the description box below, and you can look at that to get the exact measurements for everything, because I don't list them as I show you. See that, because sometimes I go a little rogue. Also, I do put cayenne pepper in mine, but if you have small children, you may want to omit that step so it's not spicy, because honestly, the little bit of cayenne pepper that you do put in does make it spicy, though I like it that way. That's up to you. Alright, so now we're adding in our 4 cans of tomato sauce. And I'm going to give it a good stir. Get all those flavors nice and mixed up together. Alright, so now that it's mixed, I'm going to pop 2 bay leaves on top. And then we're going to sit the crock pot insert into the actual crock pot and set it on low. And I'm going to cook for about 5 hours. Of course, set your time based off your crock pot, as always. So the chicken tikka masala is about done, so I'm going to mix up the heavy whipping cream and the cornstarch to make a slurry. Number 1, I should have done this in a bowl. If you watch my What's for Dinners, you know I'm all about making the least amount of messy dishes. So this is something I normally would do, but I'm going to make a little bit of a mess, and it's not going to blend that well, so FYI, make sure you do this in something where you have plenty of room to stir and mix. Don't be like me. It still turned out fine. I'm just saying it would have been easier. So I'm pulling those bay leaves off now that the chicken's cooked all the way through, and the recipe is basically done except for thickening up, which is what we need the slurry for. So I'm just pouring in that cream and cornstarch mixture, and I'm going to mix it together. Get all that blended in, and this is going to thicken up your sauce. Just going to put the lid on and let it cook for about 20 more minutes until the sauce is a little thicker. You can let it sit for a while. The longer you let it sit, the thicker it's going to be. So now we're going to plate it up. I, of course, serve this with some rice. I use jasmine rice. You can use whatever rice you want. Jasmine's just what we always keep on hand. So now I'm plating up some tikka masala. I think this would also be good if you do some veggies in, the last 30 minutes, bag of steamed veggies into here if you like vegetables. And of course, I'm topping with some cilantro. You could also top with some Greek yogurt. That would cool it down if you use the cayenne pepper. So this recipe was amazing. My best friend knew exactly what she was talking about. It was delicious, very spicy, very comforting, creamy, so good. We also served it with naan on the side, which I think is crucial whenever you do it spicy. The naan helps kind of cool it down. I ate that for dinner, and then I think I ate it for lunch for the next, 2 or 3 days. That's a testament to how delicious it was. So if you like chicken tikka masala from the restaurant and you'd like something easy and quick to do at your house, this is something that you should try. All right, so next up we've got a crockpot Cowboy Supper. So we've got some ground beef, about a pound, some cut up yellow potatoes. I did not peel them, I left the peel on. A pack of onion soup mix. Got a can of diced tomatoes, ranch style beans, and some frozen corn. Very easy, not a lot of ingredients. So let's get this prepped and thrown into the crock pot. So first things first, I just browned that pound of ground beef. I didn't add any seasonings or anything to it. You just brown it and drain the grease off like normal. So next I'm taking my crock pot and I'm tossing in those potatoes that I diced up. And on top of the potatoes, I'm just putting that entire packet of the onion soup mix. Then I'm putting over that the ground beef that I've cooked and drained the grease off of. Then the can of diced tomatoes. These are just regular diced tomatoes, though you could use flavored if you wanted to. A bag of frozen corn. I think the recipe calls for a can of corn. I just used a bag of frozen. That's what I had. And then lastly on top, the ranch style beans. And 1/4 cup of water. All right, so I just popped the lid on that, put it in the crock pot, and I cooked that on low for about 5 hours. And here it is done. So honestly, I thought with such minimal ingredients and like minimal seasonings, this would not be good. I was very, very wrong. I normally try and jazz up recipes like this by adding certain things. I'm glad I did not. Here I am plating it up. The recipe actually calls for cheese, sprinkled cheese on top. I felt like that was kind of too much. Didn't really want shredded cheese on top of mine. But you can put it on there if you want to. So here it is, of course, on the plate. Almost looks like a goulash except with potatoes instead of noodles. And I served it with just a side salad, and then we had toppings, hot sauce, sour cream, and the cheese. Like I said, the recipe originally calls for cheese, but I put it on the side in case anybody wanted it. You have got to try this. It is so simple, so quick, and so delicious. Like, I guess it was the ranch style beans. I've never had those before, but this was honestly yet another winner and perfect for fall. All right, the third dinner is going to be a crock-pot chicken chili. It's on my bucket list of things to make this cold season. So we've got a thing of cream cheese, diced up onion, 1 chicken breast, some oregano, diced green chilies, some chili powder, cumin, cayenne pepper, heavy whipping cream, chicken broth, salt, pepper, minced garlic, a can of corn, and 2 cans of white beans. I forgot to show you also, I did use cilantro. Alright, so to our crock pot we're adding our chicken breast, and then we are adding all of the seasonings. Salt, pepper, cumin, chili powder, oregano, all that good stuff right on top of our chicken breast. Then the onion, garlic, our can of diced chilies, our can of corn that I've drained, the chicken broth, which I think I actually used the entire container of chicken broth, but it called for only 24 ounces, and I just dumped the whole thing in there because I'm not saving that little bit. Just went in the soup. The Great Northern beans, which I did drain and rinse, and then there is the cilantro. Just gonna toss in a big handful. That's it. Get everything all stirred together. Alright, so I popped that into the crock pot and I'm going to cook that on low for about 3 hours so my chicken does not dry out, because my crock pot will do that real quick. Alright, so after those 3 hours are up, I pulled out the chicken breast and I'm just shredding it with 2 forks. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I also shred chicken just with like a hand mixer. I don't really do that if I have more than 1 chicken breast, but it is easier to do it with a hand mixer. Alright, so now that that's all shredded up, I'm going to go back over to the crock pot and toss my chicken back in. Also, since I don't use a lot of chicken in my soups, shredding it makes it kind of spread out further. Uses less chicken, more budget friendly. Then I'm tossing in the cream cheese that I've cubed up. We're going to get it all stirred together and mixed. I'm going to put the lid back on. And I'm going to set that to cook for about 30 more minutes. Just going to let the cream cheese melt throughout the soup and kind of thicken it up for chili. So my chili is a little thin. I probably should have added a little bit more cream cheese since I added more broth. But that's okay because the flavor was still phenomenal. And on the side to top it, we've got some Mexican cheese, some corn chips, some extra cilantro, and some lime to squeeze in it. Oh, and jalapeno slices if you want it to be super spicy. So now we're just going to plate it up. Some of that creamy broth. Like I said, it's more brothy than it is a thick chili. But the flavor was still there. If you like it to be thicker, then like I said, you should either use the right amount of broth or add more cream cheese so it is thicker. I'm just going to top mine with some cilantro. I don't show it here, but I also squeeze lime into mine and basically eat a ton of corn chips. I like to pop them in at the top, eat them, and then put more in. I like them to be crunchy as I eat it. But here you go, finished product without all the millions of corn chips that I put in here. This was really good. Like I said, this was kind of on my fall bucket list of cooking. For the cold season, I'd never made a white chicken chili before, and this was really good. Yet another gotta try it. And last up for this video, we've got a crockpot Italian sausage soup. So we've got a pack of mild Italian sausage, some chopped frozen spinach, recipe called for fresh. I had chopped frozen on hand, that's what I'm using. A sliced up carrot, diced up onion, some Italian seasoning, vegetable stock, some macaroni. The recipe called for a cup of tubular pasta. I didn't have a full cup of macaroni, so I'm going to supplement with some of this penne because I don't really have a lot left. Some garlic powder, Italian diced tomatoes, a can of Great White Northern beans, salt and pepper to taste. So we're going to get all this going. Alright, so for this recipe, it said you could just dump in the sausage. You didn't have to cook it beforehand. If you wanted to, you could. I decided to try the easy way out, so here I am just kind of breaking it up. Break it up smaller if you do that. Then I'm tossing in the carrot and the onion. Can of Great White Northern beans that I drained. Can of diced tomatoes undrained. Garlic powder. I just eyeballed it. Same for the Italian seasoning. The Italian seasoning only said dashes, so that was really an eyeball measurement for the recipe. Then the vegetable stock. And I'm going to give that a good mix together. Pop it into the crock pot, and I'm going to cook it on high for about 4 hours. So the soup has about 30 minutes left, so I'm tossing in the pasta. Popping open the penne. I'm really just eyeballing it. Tossing it a little bit more. Give it a good stir. You want the pasta to be in the juice so it does cook. I warmed up that spinach so it wouldn't go in frozen. I'm just tossing it in there. I'm going to mix that all the way through. I also added some salt and pepper, which I do not show. Popping the lid back on, and we're going to let it cook for the 30 more minutes, at least until that pasta is cooked. And this is how it looks. It's a lot thicker once you put the pasta in, because the pasta does soak up some of the broth, and just the carbs make it thicker. That's just what it does. And here I am plating it up. Alright, so I'm going to say this is my least favorite of the week. Normally would not show you a recipe that I didn't think was good, but here's the thing is I don't think that the recipe is bad. I also don't think it's great. I think it could use more seasonings, and a word of the wise, if you do this, I would recommend cooking the sausage beforehand and cooking it with the onion and the fresh garlic all together. Maybe adding in a little bit more seasonings, things like that. But like I said, this was good, just wasn't the highest on the list. As you can see, I had big chunks of sausage in my soup, which it's not my favorite. But if you like soups like this, you should try it. Just like I said, add more seasonings, saute the meat with the veggies. Also cook it a little bit longer before you add in the pasta, because some of the veggies were still a little crunchy, unless you like that.
Thank you so much for watching today's What's for Dinner. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and as always, don't forget to subscribe. If you make any of these recipes, make sure to comment down below which one you made, if you like it, or if you just want to comment down below and say which recipe out of the video was your favorite. That's great too. But anyways, I hope that y'all have a great week and come back to see me. Bye!